Hey everybody, Tyler Zeck here, founder of the Marketing Mentorship Academy and the creator of the Essential Marketing System for Small Business. Welcome to this week's Marketing Minute. I am glad you guys are here, tuned in, and I'm excited about today's topic because today's topic is innovation. And if for those of you who take this subject matter and you really do something with it, if you really apply this in your business in some way, it can honestly make the difference for you in a really big way. This is kind of the secret of it all. All right, because when we talk about innovation, and I kind of explored this a little bit last week. If you missed last week's podcast, make sure you go back and check that one out. And I explored a little bit about the three areas that derail your business. And I talked about how the more valuable your product is, the more money you stand to make. And I've always said that the product that sells best is the product that sells itself. And yet so often business owners go out there and they try to compete with a product that hasn't been well thought out in terms of how can we be as competitive as humanly possible. And so often we're out there selling something that is so much like what everybody else is selling. And then we wonder why our sales aren't where they need to be. Well, it's because you haven't taken the time to really dive deep and figure out what can I do? What can I deliver to the market that's unique, that's better, and, dare I say it, more innovative? Because innovation is the secret. All right, that's why there's so much information on the internet right now about this subject of innovation. And obviously, we're not going to be able to cover all the ins and outs of being innovative in this short video. But what I do want to talk about is 4 key considerations. All right, these are 4 things that that when you're trying to figure out how do I make my product better, when you're trying to figure out how can I be more innovative, these 4 things you can kind of have on your mental dashboard a little bit because they will help you with some key themes. All right, so I'm going to dive into those right now. The first consideration when you're trying to come up with a product or a service that's more innovative than your competitors is you can be thinking about this area of speed. Some of you might remember when Domino's Pizza came out with the unique selling proposition, and the unique selling proposition is something that's very misunderstood in today's day and age. It's been overtaught and not fully understood. But, you know, they came out with this unique selling proposition. It was hot, fresh pizza to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. And, you know, that was a promotion that they put on that really put their business on the map. But what you need to consider is that wasn't just some kind of a unique, gimmicky kind of sales tool, promotional kind of thing. That actually was the bedrock that they had to build their organization on, right? I mean, if the standard in the industry is 1 hour delivery times and you're going to come out and you're going to cut that number in half, you need to have a process in place. You don't just do that arbitrarily. You got to make sure you got enough locations. You got to make sure you can cook the pizzas fast enough, that you got enough drivers, that the pizzas are out the door in time. There's a lot of things that you need to do to make sure you can actually deliver on that promise. And in the same way, you can compete on speed. Now, first of all, let me just be clear. There has to be a demand for that. All right, don't just arbitrarily say, yeah, we can get this done faster and go to work making that your competitive advantage if getting the job done faster isn't something that your market, that your customers really care about. You know, you don't want to compete, you want to pick something that people actually care about and compete on that. But if you're in a market where people would like to get this done faster, and you can figure out a way, you can do the hard work of identifying, yeah, you know, with a little bit of work, with a little bit of shifting things around and doing this and doing that, we can get this job done faster, then that could be huge for you. And that can put you on the map, just like it did for Domino's, right? You could be the guys that get this, or the gals, I'm sorry. Sometimes I speak in first person here, talking about guys, but you gals too. You can get this job done faster than everyone else. Then talk about that and let everybody know that you can get it done faster, because that becomes your competitive advantage. A second area that you can focus on for consideration when trying to figure out how to be more innovative is the area of quality. All right. is your product or service of a higher quality than everybody else's? Right, I'll go back to the Papa John's, or to the pizza example. I'll talk about Papa John's, who has the slogan, better ingredients, better pizza. So what they're saying is that their pizza's better than everybody else's because they have better ingredients. And that because is an important part of having an actual competitive advantage. You can't just say, oh, our product is better. So often it just floors me. They say, oh, our product is better. You say, oh, well, what makes your product better? Well, it just is, you know, we know how to do this, right? Well, you got to really be able to nail that down a little bit more clearly. But if you can say definitively, our product is better because X, then you know what? That becomes a competitive advantage. That becomes something that people are going to go, oh, interesting, right? And people will pay even more money for a better quality service. Not always, not in every instance. There is a demand for the no-name brand cereals, but you know what? There are some people that just don't like no-name Honey Nut Cheerios, and they've got to buy the actual Honey Nut Cheerios with the honeybee on the front. True? So there's a demand for a higher quality product. And if you can make that higher quality product, then go ahead and do that and talk about it and compete on that. All right? The next area is quantity, right? Pizza Hut, $5, $5, $5. We're going to give you as many pizzas as you want for $5, $5, $5, $5 if you buy the first one, right? And that's what they're saying is we're going to give you more for less. And or even more for the same, right? If it costs you the same amount of money to buy it here, but you were going to get 25%, 50% more than what you were going to get from everybody else, then hey, that's all of a sudden a really good deal, right? So can you deliver more than your competitors? Can you throw in more bonuses, more services, more touch points? Do you do more than everybody else? Because if you can, and again, not saying this isn't going to take work. All of this takes work. But if you can figure it out, this is an area that you can have that industry innovation and you can set yourself apart. All right. And then the final area here is that of competence. All right. Are you the best suited for the job? Right. This is easy for companies that are in business for a very long time, right? Been around for 30 years, right? Been in business since 1982 or whatever it happens to be, right? If you've been in business for a long time and you have that competency where you can say, we're the best at this because we've been doing it for so long, or we're the best at this because we have a process that nobody else follows, or we have it figured out, we figured out a way to do it better, then that can set you apart. And unfortunately, I couldn't think of a pizza franchise example for competency. If you can think of a pizza example for me, then please send it to me. Comment, send me a tweet, whatever it happens to be. Let me know your pizza example. But I did, as I thought about it, I was like, Midas, right? Midas competes. They have the slogan, trust the Midas touch. And Midas, of course, being a company, they're mechanics, right? Oil changes, brake alignments, tires, things of that nature. And they said, you can trust us. We are competent to get this job done properly and effectively. And when it comes to getting your car fixed up, you want somebody competent to get that job done for you, right? You don't want to go to a company where they just hired some kid off the street and here's a wrench, go figure out, we're going to give you the bare minimum amount of training. No way, right? Your company could be the company that trains its staff better, puts them through more rigorous criteria, right? Whatever it happens to be, but competency could be an area that you compete on. All right. So those are just 4. Obviously, there's more than those, but in my experience, those are the 4 areas that are kind of the biggest considerations, right? And I'd say 9 times out of 10, if you really take the time to do some brainstorming, and I always will come back to this idea of brainstorming, become part of a brainstorming group, do some brainstorming around this, and be thinking about how can we make our product faster? How can we make it better? How can we make more of it? Take some time to brainstorm on that with your team, and you might just stumble upon a competitive advantage that you can bring to the marketplace that will set you apart and set you up for astronomical growth. I mean, companies have used this exact model to establish dominance in their industry and in their marketplace. So I hope that you'll take this and apply it. And I'm glad you tuned in. I hope you really enjoyed this. Please do share your comments and feedback with me. And until I see you next week on our next podcast, please keep going and keep growing, because you're worth the effort. I'll see you soon.